Now, I hate to be negative, but I watched a video this morning by George Sprave, and yes, I probably butchered that, sorry, calling for a YouTube creators union that will demand YouTube put things back the way they were. And I'm sorry, but it just won't work. Now, I'm going to look at a couple of specific things from the video. If you want to see the whole thing, it's in the description. But I don't think he realizes the scope of the problem or the complete and utter lack of power that he and the affected YouTubers have. Alright, before we get started, he put together a group on Facebook called United We Stand, and he invites people to become a member. And I'm sorry, but no thanks. Not because it might not be interesting to see what he has to say, but because I refuse to use Facebook. Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, all of these sites are every bit as bad as YouTube. They are censoring people and throwing them off for ideological reasons, just like YouTube is. So thanks, I appreciate the offer, but no thanks.
Alright, now let's talk about my demands. Directed at YouTube's management, of course. And of course, this is just for starters. I mean, we will discuss this in the Facebook group, certainly. But we have to start somewhere. But let's develop this together. But here is my points. First of all, bring back monetization for smaller channels.
I might go for that being a smaller channel and all, but the fact is, one of the reasons they got rid of monetization for small channels is because advertisers do not want to have to deal with small channels. They want to be seen by the widest audience possible. Someone with 50 followers simply doesn't qualify. Now, there are a lot of things that I don't think George actually understands about YouTube, but this is where we'll start. YouTube exists, as all businesses do, to make money. And YouTube is not a profitable company. I don't know that they've ever made any money at all. So why would YouTube give money to people who aren't in turn making them money? It makes no sense.
I mean, in my book, we need to have fair chances and we need to have a fair expression of opinions.
And that's great. But this is where emotion over logic comes in. I know George has good intentions, but the business world doesn't run on good intentions. It runs on money. It runs on profit. And that won't make YouTube money.
And therefore, bring them back. It was unfair to cut them out of the monetization system, even if they weren't making a lot of money.
It doesn't matter how much money they were making for themselves. It matters how much money they were making for YouTube. Paying out more than you're bringing in, that's insane.
They were hoping to make more money. How can you take away people's hope?
Business doesn't exist to give people hope. I hate to keep pointing this out, but YouTube isn't a charity. Your videos are a product, and if they can't sell your product, why should they keep paying for it?
So, stop that. Stop it. Stop it and remonetize these channels. Stop letting bots decide whether or not you delete a partner's channel.
Let's be honest, the bots are not deciding. They're not some kind of Orwellian artificial intelligence. They have been specifically programmed to delete what they delete, to flag what they flag, and to strike what they strike. And I don't think that George realizes this bit either. YouTube is specifically hard left politically, and they are actively going after anything that their political ideology doesn't like. And this is where we see that Google cares about more than just profit. They care about ideological purity. Google is dedicated to maintaining that far left political leaning and only allowing people on their platform that agree with their talking points. This is why conservative channels have been targeted in recent days, because they want them gone before they can influence people to vote conservative in the midterm and next presidential elections.
You can't seriously do this. These are verified partners. They have been working with you for years.
It doesn't matter. Every single one of them agreed to YouTube's acceptable use policy when they joined, so YouTube has a right to do whatever they want to do within the confines of the law. Putting videos on YouTube is entirely voluntary. YouTube never promised anyone anything, and they can't be legally held accountable for people's wishes and dreams of becoming an internet millionaire. YouTube could delete the entire site tomorrow, and no one would have any legal recourse. It's their platform. You have to follow their rules or go somewhere else.
And just because some people find complaints, for whatever reason, your bots have the power to delete them? That can't be.
But it is, and this is where I think people let their emotions run away with them. What I think of YouTube doesn't matter. I'm not on their board of directors. They are not legally, nor ethically, nor financially accountable to my feelings. Do I think what they're doing sucks? Absolutely. Does that have any weight whatsoever? No!
I want you to have a human calling up a partner that you're planning to delete and discussing this with him beforehand.
And who pays for that human partner? Because paying people costs money, and as we've already seen, YouTube really isn't making any. And again, they've got no reason to listen to you at all, so your demands are ultimately meaningless.
Do you have any idea about what happens when on a Friday noon, when nobody is at work at YouTube anymore, a bot closes down a channel that is the sole source of income of a YouTube creator? You know, this guy will be in the most dire straits, and that's because of you.
Too bad, so sad. This is more emotions over reality that I speak out against all the time. First off, YouTube via Google is a privately owned company that can do whatever the hell it wants with its own property. You have no right to be on their platform if they don't want you to be. They can throw you off anytime they want, for any reason they want, within legal boundaries. You have no right to use their platform to say your bit, any more than some random person can come along with a soapbox, put it on my front lawn, and make their political diatribe. I can throw them off just as YouTube can. Your right to free speech does not give you the right to use someone else's property to speak.
You are responsible for this. Stop it. Open up communication between your censors, what you call content or content department or whatever, and the creators.
They don't want to. You have to look at the people they put in these positions because they're all far left socialist regressives. Why? Because that's what they want the site to be, and most decisions are made along ideological lines. There are a lot that are financial as well, but there's a lot of ideology going on behind the scenes here, which is why conservatives get routinely purged, demonetized, put in limited state, etc. Let's not fool ourselves.
It's not acceptable that we have to communicate through automized messages or maybe through our partner managers who really have nothing to say, you know, good people, but no influence in the organization really. If you are in a position to judge about our videos, then come out of your hiding and talk to us about it.
You don't get to determine what's right here. And again, paying actual people to do these things is expensive. Who pays for it? You? I don't think so.
I mean, that happens with a rating for a movie, for a Hollywood movie. It's an ongoing discussion. You know, tell us what you don't want. Maybe we do some editing and then it's okay. But be approachable. Just don't hide, okay?
But what do they get out of it? Honestly, how does that benefit YouTube, knowing that they only care about their profit and their ideology? Because I'm not seeing any benefit to them, and whether you like it or not, they've got all the power here.
But you know what? Stop demonetization as a whole.
That will never happen, both because they actually have advertisers who actively do not want their ads on controversial videos, and for ideological reasons. They are actively trying to drive people they don't like off of their platforms, and they've been doing it for a very, very long time. Initially, I think they hoped that just demonetizing a channel entirely, which has been going on since the apocalypse, would just make people go away, but when that didn't happen, now they're just deleting channels that they don't like. This is not secret knowledge. Even former Google CEO Eric Schmidt says that it should be possible, and in fact has become painfully obvious that it's the goal at Google, to simply take things they don't like off the page.
My own view on most of this sort of extremist things, as well as fake news in general, is that it's essentially a ranking problem. Right? We're very good at detecting what's the most relevant and what's the least relevant. It should be possible for computers to detect malicious, misleading, and incorrect information and essentially have you not see it. We're not arguing for censorship. We're arguing just take it off the page, right? Put it somewhere else. Make it harder to find.
Get rid of it. Go back to old times. We don't need demonetization.
YouTube does, both to make a profit and to advance their far-left agenda. YouTube doesn't care about you. YouTube is not your friend. Figure it out.
If a video is within your guidelines, we'll talk about those later, but if it's within the guidelines, then evenly distribute the ads over it.
But that's not how it works. Advertisers do not want ads shown on some videos, period. Advertisers want their ads shown where they will get the most views of potential customers possible. Advertiser unfriendly is unfortunately a real thing.
And if you must limit ads to certain content, if you really want to do this, then still pay out the money to every one of us. You know full well that you need some more critical content, something controversial to attract users to your platform.
But that's not what they want. The only so-called controversial content that they want is from the far political left. And while I'm not going to say that they should want it, it's their right to limit content to whatever they think is financially or ideologically successful, just like people on the far right can limit the content on their platforms to whatever they happen to agree with.
And then you can bombard them with your recommendations and trendings for videos that are full of ads. That's okay, but the income from this needs to be spread also over to people that have the more critical content.
Income goes to those who have earned it. This isn't communism, this isn't socialism, and people don't deserve anything that they haven't personally earned.
You know what? You behave like a car manufacturer that decides to only pay the sales force, because these are the guys that make the sale. So why pay anyone else?
Because in that example, they are required by the law to do so. That's not the case for YouTube. None of the content creators actually work for YouTube. At best, they're independent contractors who get paid when the work that they do actually makes money. Welcome to reality.
But a car company that stops paying its workers, stops paying accountants, stops paying engineers, stops paying the cleaning team, you know what happens to them? Go figure.
The people who don't get paid go elsewhere, as they should. Go figure.
And if your advertisers don't like that, then let them go back to the old dying print media. And then watch them coming back with the tail between the legs. They can't last.
Except there are plenty of places they can go that are vibrant and worthwhile. I don't think Google AdSense is suffering, at least not that I've seen. It's only YouTube. When the apocalypse happened, those advertisers who left YouTube didn't just stop advertising. They went and found other outlets.
Stop preferring some partners over others.
Why? Bigger content creators simply make more money for YouTube. That's why they're preferred. That's why they get perks, because they put money in YouTube's wallet. This makes no sense at all.
That's like George Orwell, really.
Here's the reality for you. You are living in a modern-day 1984 if you think about it. Funny how you haven't recognized that.
You shouldn't do this. Some people are more equal than others. We had this before. So don't do it. Stop your preferred partners program. Treat every one of your partners as an even partner. May that be a small partner, may be a big partner, where may you have content for kids or maybe have contents that are more critical, like news or religious debates or whatever. They're all creators. Treat them the same way.
That's just not how things work in the real world, I'm afraid. And honestly, I've seen so many people with the same kind of position as George here who really don't recognize reality. People who keep saying they're gonna sue YouTube because their channel got deleted. Because, you know, they had a legally binding contract to keep their channel on YouTube. Wait, they didn't! And YouTube's AUP specifically says that they can delete your channel any damn time they want. And you agreed to it. Go figure.
Then your community guidelines. Of course it is okay to have community guidelines for what is allowed on a platform and what is not allowed on a platform.
And they do. They're just very vague, and they are allowed to do so if they want. They can change their guidelines anytime they want to as well, which seems to happen every other week these days. And if you don't like what YouTube is doing, your only real option is to take your channel somewhere else. They don't owe you anything, whether you like it or not.
I don't want to see beheading videos on YouTube, certainly not. But be clear about it. If I look at the community guidelines today, that can be all or nothing. I mean, it gives you complete freedom to decide whether or not you want a video. You can always, direct people to this kind of spongy and really soft set of rules that no doubt some fishy lawyers have composed for you.
Yup, which is why all of the calls for lawsuits against YouTube are laughable on their face. They have covered their ass just as they should have done.
Get rid of those and give us clear examples of what is okay and what is not okay, so that we know what we can do and what we can't.
You can do whatever you want to do today. Now, most people are fine. They aren't producing controversial content, and they rarely, if ever, get demonetized. Now, you have to remember that the majority of YouTube's income comes from people making cat videos and unboxing videos and inoffensive stuff like that. Those are the people they care about. The people making controversy, the people causing problems, those are people that YouTube simply doesn't care about unless they're following the strict far-left ideas that YouTube and parent company Google likes. Anyone else? They don't care if you survive or fail at all.
So, to sum it all up, here is my clear message to you, YouTube management. Start of message. Our original agreement was like this. We make videos and we bring in the views.
Honestly, look at the majority of high view videos on YouTube. It's not your channel and it's not my channel. It's inoffensive nonsense. So I just went and looked at the trending tab on YouTube, and most of it is music videos, reaction videos, workout videos, makeup videos, etc. That's what YouTube wants. Those are the people making massive ad revenue. If everything but that vanished tomorrow, YouTube would be ecstatic.
You provide the infrastructure and bring in the ads.
The infrastructure is really, really expensive, and if the advertisers don't want to come, then who pays for the infrastructure? Because users are uploading nearly 60 hours of video to YouTube every single second of every single day, and it's really expensive to keep all of that material around forever. So it's really easy to say, yeah, go find advertisers. But it really isn't that simple in practice.
It's simple, isn't it? We creators, we do our job.
A job that you yourself have decided to do, and then you want to use YouTube's resources for free without them being able to tell you what you can and can't do. Yes, when it comes to politics, they're doing it all wrong, but it's still their equipment that you're using, and they still have complete control over it.
We are making the videos and we bring in the views.
I really don't know that you're personally bringing in the views, considering the top-rated videos are bringing in millions of views, and yours, not so much. And I'm not trying to be insulting here, just pointing out the reality that they have all of the upside and none of the downside by eliminating a lot of small channels who are saying things that they and their advertisers don't like.
Now you do your job too. And just your job. Bring in the ads so that we get paid.
You don't seem to recognize how independent contractors work, which is exactly what you are. They don't legally owe you a thing except for what has been legally contracted. They never promise you could quit your job and work full-time on YouTube and make a living at it. Just because you want to doesn't mean you deserve to. Putting your financial future in the hands of some corporation that is not accountable to you, that seems a little ridiculous, doesn't it?
And don't do anything else but that. Don't go into politics, that's not for you. And keep your nose out of our content.
Then keep your content off of their platform. See, this is really where I shake my head because the entitlement here is absurd. If you don't like what YouTube is doing, and I don't like it either, but I'm being realistic about it, then take your channel somewhere else. Take it or leave it. YouTube doesn't owe you anything that is not demanded by law. Neither do any other social media platforms. These are free, voluntary sites that you have, by your very presence, agreed to follow whatever rules they see fit to impose. If you don't like it, find a site that has rules that you can follow, or make your own site where you get to make the rules. It's not that hard to understand. Nobody owes you a damn thing.
That's our content, it's not your content.
But it's your content on their servers they are paying for. Stop pretending otherwise.
Understood? Come on, it ain't that hard. You can do it.
No, it isn't that hard, but far too many content creators spend their time whining that they somehow deserve things that they absolutely have no legal, ethical, or moral claim to. They need to knock that off. And that's where I'm going to stop responding. Like I said, the link to the original video is in the description if you want to see it, plus it's been mirrored all over the place. It isn't like I'm not sympathetic to that kind of argument, but it simply doesn't stand up under any rational scrutiny. Sure, there are lots of people who have hung their star in YouTube's sky and they want to keep riding the trail to the very end, but the simple fact is that YouTube doesn't owe them anything outside of legal bounds. They could go through tomorrow and delete every single channel that starts with the letter A, and there isn't a damn thing anybody could do about it. It's not a strict scrutiny category. You have no right to play on their lawn if they say you can't. It's their property, not yours. And people need to get that through their heads. I don't agree with what they're doing. I'm just not kicking and screaming and throwing a temper tantrum because they're doing it. I recognize what side of the legal divide I'm on, and it isn't the side with any power. Google and YouTube don't have to listen to me or you or anyone else. They can do what they want. They might make some really terrible financial decisions, but that's between them and their shareholders, not between them and their content creators. People want the world to be fair, but it's not. And as I say all the time, the mark of basic maturity is dealing with the world as it actually is, not as they wish it was. It's time for people to grow up and stop pretending that anyone owes them anything. They do not. You have to make rational decisions, particularly about your financial future, and putting yourself completely under the control of someone who absolutely does not care about you one bit. That's not a sound financial choice. You shouldn't do that. If you're not paying the bills, you're not in control. And declaring yourself a union without any control whatsoever, yeah, that's not going to turn out well either. People just need to deal with it.